Hello, welcome to SteveKnows. Today we are checking out PCVR on the Quest 3 as part of my broken up, a little bit more in-depth review series of this device. The pass-through and the mixed reality review is already uploaded, so feel free to check that out after this video. So I think that is enough chin-wagging. Let's review PCVR on Quest 3. Let's get started. Today's video is sponsored. It was actually so hard to say no when I actually love this accessory so much. There are two grip accessories available from AMVR, and they've come up with a design that integrates with your Quest 3 controllers in two different ways. These controller grips are just so seamless. The first is a battery replacement cover that adds additional friction to the handle and a knuckle grip that becomes part of the controller. The second one is the same thing, but it's built into a rubber cover for your controllers for additional protection from scuffing, damage, and over time these are white, so they get rather grubby. They are a similar design to the official Meta Quest hand grips, but a fraction of the price. The grip covers do not cover the LED lights though, in case you were worried about missing out on some tracking or it causing tracking issues. They have thought about that. They have a sale on right now as well, where you can save up to 20% off, and once that ends you can use discount code SteveKnows to get 10% off, and it is free shipping. So starting off with my setup and context of my play. So I will be using my Quest 2 and my Quest 3 to see if the experience is improved, showing these specs from the connection, showing latency details, plus my own opinion on how the experience actually looks and feels. Because things are always rather different when you're looking inside the headset. So the Quest 3, it has Wi-Fi 6E support and an AV1 codec support, which is supposed to provide a smoother, clearer experience at the same bitrate. And so you know what you're looking at when I show you some of these visuals, the virtual desktop performance display. So on the left you see latency. That is the total motion to photon latency, the time between your head or your hand position measurement and then the image displaying that on screen. You'll see the same thing in the metrics when I show you the Oculus overlay as well. Middle column is actually a breakdown of things that actually change. There are additional variables that total up to that variable you see on the left, but these are the ones that change during play. I'm also running on a 4090 GPU and a Ryzen 7 950X, in case you were wondering about my specs. And an FYI, if you're on a 4000 series GPU from Nvidia or a 7000 from AMD, update your drivers, otherwise you will not have the AV1 support. I did that when I first started and thought, why is it not working? On Quest 2 there is a Snapdragon Game Super Resolution option, but that only works up to high quality and 90Hz refresh rate. On Quest 3 it doesn't seem to be limited, which is another great reason you may want to think about going for Quest 3. I'm also using a TP-Link AX 75 router dedicated to my PC and a USB-C to USB-C cable for my Oculus Link connection. And please be aware that my experience could differ from yours. There are so many variables at play: your headset performance, your PC specs, the configurations you use, the brand of router that you buy, and of course there's just other small tweaks as well. The list goes on. So I would love to know what your experience has been with this headset if you own one. It could be the same, it could be similar, it could be completely different to what I'm going to show you today. Share the knowledge and help people wanting to get into VR or upgrade to a new headset. Help them learn more. Okay, you've got the context, you can now better understand what I'm about to show you. So let's check out some gameplay comparisons on Steam and Oculus platforms and talk about the findings. So fortunately, I was able to try the Quest 3 on the old codecs before upgrading my GPU drivers to then use AV1. So on Quest 3, how much of a difference does this new codec make on performance? In the headset during actual use, I didn't really notice a difference between the two experiences. It was incredible on both. I am assuming this could be the fact my setup is so strong that the benefit of the additional quality at the same bitrate just isn't as noticeable. You may have varying results. But I wanted to touch on this because this is obviously great news for those of you that don't have a 40 series or 7000 series GPU and you were thinking that you weren't going to get an upgraded PCVR experience. That is not true. This isn't the greatest thing since sliced bread. You still have a PCVR upgrade on Quest 3 even if you don't have the new GPU and support AV1. It was fantastic. Now looking at the numbers, looking at the latency stats between Quest 2 and Quest 3 in some other titles, there wasn't much difference between them actually. It was pretty much the same numbers coming out, but inside the headset it was night and day different with its visuals. The Quest 3, every game I jumped in, I was like, this looks fantastic. It was stunning, but it's kind of hard to attribute the improvements to the codec? Is it the optical stack? Is it the Wi-Fi 6E improvement? Is it a mixture of all of them? I will say I don't think the Wi-Fi 6E is actually making that much of a difference based on the latency numbers. They are very, very similar. However, the experience was incredibly smooth. Very, very rarely did it have a special kind of glitching moment that you often see when using the Quest 2, which was notorious for it. The Quest 3 was smooth like butter, no stutter. So I am cautious to comment on the definitive differences between the codecs, but the experience between Quest 2 and Quest 3 was night and day different. The Quest 3 was phenomenal. Other games, when looking at the latency again, there isn't that much that makes you go, wow, Quest 3 is out of this world. The numbers don't seem to be saying Quest 3 is incredible, but inside the headset, it is stunning. Every time I booted up a game on Quest 3, it was like, whoa, experiencing VR all over again, and that is a fantastic feeling. It is so crisp. The screen door is greatly reduced compared to Quest 2, and those pancake lenses have a larger sweet spot, which improves your peripheral vision, and because the clarity's increased more so as well, taking in more beautiful, stunning graphics. The lenses are also not etched on the pancake lenses like the Fresnels that you have in the Quest 2. You're not getting God rays, you're not getting interfered visuals because of the etching. It is much, much clearer. It's brilliant. It is actually brilliant. You also have a higher resolution display on the Quest 3, and I think all of those things play a huge role in the visual improvements, more so than Wi-Fi 6E or the AV1 codec, in my personal opinion. And because of the pancake lenses, it has to push out more brightness in the display, so the colors are much more vibrant, they are much brighter. I think the display has to be because of those lenses, and it makes a really big difference. The Quest 2 looks like it's washed out in comparison when I'm swapping between the headsets. Now I want to move on to something that was actually incredibly interesting. That was the wireless experience. How does it work using the Oculus Link? Sorry. I made absolutely no changes to the default options because that would apply bias to the feed depending on the headset. So I went default to also represent a more casual PCVR gamer as well, if there is such a thing. So the Quest 2 actually outperformed the Quest 3 with its motion to photon latency consistently. The latency did vary between game and game, but the Quest 2 had less latency. I don't know if that's because the Quest 3 is able to pump out more visually, so there is additional latency because of the rendering, but the Quest 2 won when looking at the numbers. Something else that was interesting is that latency for a wired connection was so comparable, so very close to the wireless experience that we were previously having. The latency of a wireless experience was nearly the same as the latency of a wired experience, which I just think it's crazy. Virtual desktop is slaying. My gosh. The wireless experience in all of these games using Quest 3 was pretty special. Very, very stunning. Guy Godin called this the best wireless PCVR headset yet, and I think the conclusion I've come to is yes, I have to agree with him. I've been banging on about DisplayPort for so long, but this experience here, after a bit of fiddling, was so very impressive and smooth and stunning. I think I am won over. I don't think I'm going to be arguing for a wired connection anymore. A dedicated router with AV1, Wi-Fi 6E, and these stunning visuals, I think I'm sold on it. It was beautiful. So would I recommend the Quest 3 as a PCVR headset for wireless gaming? Yes. It hits 120 Hz. It's a hybrid device. It has the best in-market Wi-Fi solution so far that isn't a dedicated 60 GHz module. It has developers like Guy Godin creating incredible wireless experiences with improved clarity and an easy user experiences. It has pancake lenses, the display, the form factor for comfort. All of these make an all-round great package and upgrade for PCVR gaming over the Quest 2. It actually hurt to go back to the Quest 2 and look through those Fresnel lenses, have those washed out colors, feeling the weight, the screen door. I think I'm going to be retiring this device to the shelf now. It's a display only paperweight. No, I'll use it when people come around. We want to play some cooperative experiences for sure. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something and I answered some questions you may have. Please check out the grips if you're interested down below in the description. Please subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know your experience with the wireless PCVR on Quest 3. Let me know what your experience has been like with wireless PCVR on Quest 3. And hopefully I will see you next time. Have a great week. Happy gaming. Good day.